biodiversity, in theory, is a pretty simple scientific concept that's fundamental to the Earth's functions. You'd think it near impossible to ruin this, and yet here we are, ruining it. Human be humaning, I guess. Okay, so what is actual biodiversity? The definition. The dictionary defines it as the variety of plant and animal life in the world or a particular habitat, a high level of which is usually considered to be important and desirable. And I like that definition, so I'm going to roll with it. That definition on its own doesn't lend much to the gravity and importance of the topic. I'm going to get a bit scary here. Climate change and the impending doom of humanity isn't my favourite topic either, but it's intrinsic to the conversation there is to be had, so let's get into it. There are 4 spheres of the Earth, and biodiversity, or the lack thereof in the current climate, affects them all. Let's run over them each. Number 1, the lithosphere, the land. Call me the Lorax, so I'm about to speak for the trees. The lithosphere, it's biomes, the bits and bobs that make up this planet we call home. Unless you're an alien watching this. Shout out to all the Martians of the internet. Anyway, alien digressions aside, if the different pieces that make up the lithosphere don't have the right factors and pieces that make them, well, them, we're in trouble. Australia, for example. We're largely comprised of desert. This land was never meant to house middle-class families before in suburbia. I could talk about the colonialism that got us to this point, but that might be a little too controversial for a school project, so I'll let that speak for itself. When we alter these states of the lithosphere, we're messing with the way the world is built fundamentally. In small doses, it's not that bad for the planet, but when we're terraforming and transforming entire countries that were never meant to be hospitable in the way that they are, that's dangerous. It kills off so many natural features of plants to protect the land. Number 2, the hydrosphere. Water, fish, the whole shebang. Here, biodiversity isn't ruined by adding species that aren't intended to be there, it's by inadvertently depleting what's there by default. Oil spills, shark hunting, pollution. Obviously, we know it's bad for the environment, but I don't think we actually recognize just how much damage is done by upsetting the life cycle in the ocean. Plankton, no, not you, get out of here. Phytoplankton produce up to 80% of the Earth's oxygen. I don't know about you, but I quite like breathing oxygen. Depleting the ocean's natural supplies for our own selfish and capitalistic gain is so thoughtless and dangerous. Next on the chopping block is the biosphere. You, me, this guy, all the living critters. The life on Earth provides us with more than you'd probably initially think. Clean air, clean water, food, all the natural resources we need fundamentally as humans to do our human bits. If we lose that because of our own hedonistic fly into self-destruction, we lose our ability to do the aforementioned human bits. Finally, a word you're hopefully familiar with, the atmosphere. This is probably pretty self-explanatory. Less biodiversity equals less oxygen production. And if you're a human, which I presume you are, we kind of need oxygen. Breathing is pretty great, is the general consensus of the human race. Okay, I know that was brief and lacking a lot of nuance, but this is for a school project and I'm just trying to get that A, so I'm just going to keep it as brief as I can. But we've discussed the effects of biodiversity. Let's talk some more about how it's caused. 2 specific causes in particular. My greatest enemies. Golf courses and middle-class copy and pasted suburbia. Golf. Golf? How I hate you! Aside from the fact that it's a rubbish sport, oh, you hit the ball with the stick into the little hole. A real job. Anyway, I'll stop complaining about the game and start complaining about the courses. Picture a golf course in your mind's eye. Very plain, green, and vast. Sure, there are nature elements, but they are quite literally just grass. It's curated nature. Unnatural nature. It sounds an oxymoron, but I think it illustrates my point quite well. These massive courses for middle-aged dads and crocs are so bad for biodiversity. They strip the surroundings of their natural environments in favour of bland hills with nowhere near enough variance to be functional in the spaces they occupy. Public enemy number 2 are the suburbs. Not necessarily suburbs themselves, you can still live your gated community American dream, but the yards are what I take issue with. Cut and pasted, clean, green grass boxes. How many lawns in your neighbourhood are filled with the native plants of the area? I'm willing to bet less than 10, and that is a problem. A bigger one than you're realising. You might be thinking, oh, it's just one neighbourhood, what does it matter if it's not a bustling forest? But I'm not asking you to transform your backyard into an animal sanctuary. Think about your suburb, then the rest of your town, then your country, then the world. That's a lot of suburbs and not a lot of biodiversity. So we've well established by now that there is a problem, but how do we fix it? How do we go about tackling such an infinite problem, the scale of which we can't even picture? Well, you can't do it all on your own. Doing your bit won't solve the extinction crisis, but if everyone collectively does their bit, there will be change. A great starting place is to get your green thumb out. Plant flora that's native to your area. If you're passionate about this sort of thing, go to rallies that advocate for climate action. Email your local government about inputting policies to protect the natural life around you. It sounds like small acts, and they are, but if everyone collaborates on doing a bunch of small acts, that turns into something bigger and creates tangible difference. So go to that protest, plant that flower, call up that local MP, make that change and be that difference. Miss Jones, please give me an A. I love science. Trust.